very quickly is that the centerpiece around which the others orbit is the Jesus is Lord piece. So here you have is a worldview in a sentence. Actually, a worldview in 3 words, which is quite remarkable. And that's why it's kind of theologically dense enough to hold the movement together. So that's the heart of it, is that centerpiece. The next one is discipleship and disciple making. And it's very close to Jesus Lord, because this is how the individual believer lives out the Lordship of Christ in community. Discipleship and disciple making are foundational to any movement. No matter which movement you observe, you will find that they're obsessed pretty much with discipleship and disciple making. Everyone's a disciple and no one ever stops being a disciple. Then the other one I go to is missional incarnational impulse. God is a missionary God. The church is a sent people. We see in Jesus the kind of model of mission. If you go among a group of people, you speak from within them. If God is a sending God, this is how God sends. Missional incarnation go together. It's the outward and the deepening, outward deepening impulse that associates with movements. And here you actually see the sneeze being worked out. It's like as it kind of establishes itself and then it sneezes out. The following one I go to is the apostolic environment. If we're going to be a missional church and a missional movement, we have to have missional forms of ministry to go along with that. Ephesians 4 expresses that the church has got 5-fold form: the apostolic, prophetic, evangelistic, pastoral and didactical, the teaching role. And I think a lot of the frustration at the moment in missional church circles is everyone wants missional church, but they don't want missional ministry. I would say if you take this out, you can't have movement. Then we go to organic systems. Organic systems has to do with the organizational structure of movements. Movements that go spontaneous and exponential, they have a very decentralized form. Power and function are distributed outwards. Every agent has got the capacity to reproduce the whole. And then we have communitas, which is the final piece. Communitas is a community formed in the context of an ordeal, a challenge, a task, a mission, that requires each player to find each other in a new significant way to get the job done. Friends become comrades, team players. All movements that change the world seem to have a comradeship and a sense of each other's backs that we tend to lack in Western expressions of church. We can't think of these as silver bullets, each and of themselves, but we need to see them as a kind of living system, each independent and interrelating with the other pieces. You change one, it changes the whole. All 6 need to be present, and I would argue are present in every church, but are forgotten, hence the book, The Forgotten Ways. They lie underneath, dormant, but they're there, they can be awoken, and that's our job. At heart, the Jesus movements are people movements, that is, everyone gets to play. Every believer carries the potential for world transformation in them, every single one of us. And we don't even have to be long in Jesus to actually carry all the potentials of the whole in us. Every believer is a church planter. Every church is a church planting church, right? Which is to say that everyone carries the potential for the whole in it. And that's one of the most amazing things. As a spark has a potential for a flame. As a flame has a potential for a fire that consumes a forest. In a seed is the potential of a tree, and a tree is the potential for a forest. But it's all contained in the spark, or contained in the seed, in potential. In the same way, every believer carries the potential of the whole. If we, for a moment, began to kind of wrap our minds around that, you realize that you look at any church and you see this is a kind of a massive amount of seeds in here. Every one of them has the potential to be a church, and ought to be a church planter. And every church that comes out of them ought to do the same.
Let's stand together.